A maddening box.
Welcome to episode 90 of Chet and John's reassuringly finite gaming playlist. My name's John Denton. With me, as always, Chet Roivas.
Ex-Pone.
So you know the deal, or maybe you don't. It's two top 10 lists of the games that Chet and I have been playing the most this week. We go from 10 to 1, 10 being the game we played the least, 1 being the game we played the most. It's simple. Let's do this thing. Chet, number 10.
Okay, my number 10 is a game called Shitty Quest on the Mac. I played the Mac version. It's a PC. It's basically a PC game, and you download it from a place called gymmakesgames.com. Or check him out on Twitter, Jim Makes Games. A friend of mine has asked me to download this and play it quite a few times, so I did download it. There is a Mac version, as I said, but the first thing that happens is that it says, in order to do this, left click. In order to do that, right click. That Macs don't have right click, so I tried all possible variations of what it could be instead of right click, and none of them worked. So I couldn't progress. It's the thing at the beginning says this is a humorous adventure about a neglected game character and a game designer with a demon to conquer. And you walk around, and everything you click, this sort of deadpan Englishman says, "Oh, that door looks shitty." Or look, there's a shitty axe on the wall. Oh, there's a shitty guy over there. You're shitty. No, you're shittier than I am. Oh, yeah, I don't know. It's just repeated uses of the word shitty, and I couldn't do anything. I couldn't open the door. I couldn't pick the axe up because it had no right click. So. Shitty Quest. I can't talk about it.
Apple button click?
I tried that. Tried everything. I tried everything. I mean, I've heard that this is quite a funny game, and it's meant to be over in about 10-15 minutes. So, check it out. Shitty Quest. I can't recommend it because I don't even know what the hell it is.
Right, another cracking game for my number 10 is Desert Bus on Android. Oh, yeah. So I got an Android phone, as you know, but people won't know. I'm not going to talk about it much because that's not an interesting thing to talk about, but I have one. Anyway, the humble Android bundle came out, and I needed a bunch of games to talk about this week while you talk about more interesting and expensive things. So this was the perfect thing. So Desert Bus, I put it on, and all it is the interior of a bus and a very straight desert road. Yeah. And I played it for about 90 seconds. Have you heard of this game?
Oh, yeah, big time. Yeah,
right. So this, okay. Maybe I don't pay attention 90% of the time to the world anyway, and something as nondescript as Desert Bus completely lost on me. But as you obviously know, it was done by Penn and Teller in the mid-90s.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And I'm assuming now lots of people must know that. I didn't know what it was. I was playing it for 90 seconds. Like, am I being trolled? So I Googled it and immediately brought up a brilliant article by Simon Parkin. And yeah. So everyone's read this article. There's me just fucking sitting in the corner crying or something. I didn't see any of this. Go and read that article about this game. It's a really good article. Don't play the game. Play it for a minute if you want, if you got it in this bundle. But you'd have to be some sort of fucking masochist if you wanted to play it for any longer than that.
Okay, could you, when I see you next, could you please have that on your phone? Because I've always meant to play that, and that's the perfect
I've already deleted it, but I'm sure I can re-download it.
Yeah, because that article is great. It's in the New Yorker, isn't it, on the website?
Yes, the New Yorker, yeah.
So just Google Simon Parkin. Was it called Desert Bus?
Desert Bus, yeah.
I've got to see it. I haven't even seen it. So
it's not a lot to see, but I'll re-download it. Hopefully I'll be able to re-download it. I'm sure I will be able to.
And in that article about people getting excited when bugs hit the window and stuff like that, I can't. I'll play it. Next time I see you, I'll definitely have to have a go.
Yeah, I'll bring it down.
Wicked. Okay, right. My number 9 is Pro Evolution Soccer 2014. I hooked up last week for a game with a mate. It's so old. Nobody needed more proof that PES is such an outdated heap of shit. But I haven't turned it on for a few weeks, possibly a couple of months. No, it's not a couple of months. Definitely a few weeks. And it comes up with loads of messages, and I had to go through them like I was deleting old emails. Oh, we've done this patch. Oh, the new shoes for him. It's just like, what rubbish. What is this fucking outdated nonsense? And then I downloaded the patch, which took the best part of 30 minutes. But it has, like you said, it's fixed the game. I had a game with Jay, and it was just absolutely glorious. You could not fault it. It was one of the best online games of football I think I've ever had. But I'm ready to abandon it for reasons I'll speak about later. When we were going into server, there's all those server rooms with like 100 possible places you can start a game up. There was 10 games going on, and that's
fucking
it.
Hell.
I know it's Europe. Is it the world?
I don't know. I'd imagine most of the games are people just doing ranked matches.
Quick matches, yeah.
Yeah. But I'd imagine a lot of people have just sacked it off. Because,
well,
and I do think a lot of people that buy that game don't actually play it online.
You really?
They're Master League players, and they always have been, and they're kind of stuck with the brand. I think there's a large percentage, a larger percentage than there would be who buy FIFA, who are they're just come into FIFA in the last few years, or that's the only game they buy or whatever. That Pro Evo still has that kind of die-hard. I go on the Evo forums like Evo Web and PES Fan, and people just love Master League. They always have done since the 90s.
Yeah. I was shocked to see that few people playing it, but also Jay said he was trying to find ranked matches and he couldn't, and just he was sitting in menus. So I feel that, I think people have abandoned it, and it's hard. It's hard to stick with after all this time. It's finally working. It should have worked 2 months ago. So, great game.
Imagine if it had been like that out of the box. I would have played a fuckload of it. Hours and hours I would have played.
People might have picked it over FIFA. Who knows? It's a fucking shame. But I'm pretty much done.
Yeah, I will be now with next gen of the day this comes out for me, and you've already got it. I just can't see me playing it anymore, which is a damn shame. A damn shame. All right, my number 9 is another game, bizarrely, where you're looking at the dashboard of a vehicle in very old-fashioned graphics. It's Knight Rider Turbo, a game that I read about on Eurogamer today. The day of recording is Wednesday. This is like a comedy game where you play as the driver of Knight Rider. I don't know if you're actually supposed to be the Hoff or whatever. It doesn't really matter, and you're driving out of control, veering down the wrong side of the road. Within seconds you crash, and then the whole game is controlled by the mouse, and you have a hand on screen, a bit like Surgeon Simulator or something, and you can grab the steering wheel to try and steer and do other things, but immediately the steering wheel just comes away from the thing. I don't want to actually spoil too much. The whole game's over in about 20 seconds, and the idea is just to see how far you can drive down this road. Knight Rider Turbo, it's worth playing because you can do the entire experience in about a minute, and it made me chuckle. It's daft as fuck. It's just one of those games that people obviously make when they're hungover or something, and they think it's funny and they just stick it out.
So this is a browser game?
Yes, sorry, it's an in-browser game. Just Google it, or there's a story on Eurogamer.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, my number 8 is Crysis on the Xbox 360. There was a weird lull because the Xbox One came out last Friday, and on Thursday night, I kind of, despite having loads of other stuff to play, I kind of felt like, it felt like the calm before the storm. So I went through my hard drive and I saw Crysis, thought, oh, great, and I started playing it again. It's absolutely brilliant. It's the last thing I needed to have a game that I really, really want to play.
Right.
I spoke about it when I found it. The 360 version is obviously inferior to the PC one, but still, they've done a hell of a job porting it, and it feels just incredible. There's actual stealth in it. I remember when PC players got so fucked off with Crysis 2, saying that they'd completely ruined it. I like Crysis 2, and to a lesser extent Crysis 3. I think they're really good games, but they did screw it over because they're nothing like this. This is actually a hard game that requires actual stealth, actual planning. You have to plot courses around things, and you have to manage your powers, because all of those powers, they deplete. If you've got that super shield on, and someone comes around a corner and pumps you with a shotgun, it's a lot of the time that's the whole thing. Dead. One more shot and you're dead. So you're not actually ever at that much of an advantage, but it's thrilling, absolutely thrilling in ways that I think console games are starting to. I think they're scared to be. I know that's what I remember at the time. I think I got in a lot of shit because I wrote a review and it started off going, PC fucking snobs don't know what they're talking about. And they were fucking right, because this is something else. And there's destructibility in it, even on 360, and it's not as big and loud as something like Battlefield, but it works. And there was one bit where I was cowering from these enemies in this like shack, trying to quickly reload my gun and wait for my powers to replenish, and they were circling around, just pump action shotguns blowing the shack away, and it was cool. I was like, this is amazing. Like, I was so tense. The whole experience of playing it for about 2 hours was really tense, and it's open, and it reminded me of Far Cry. It requires skill and smarts, and I can like I said, I can totally understand the hatred for the sequels, because they're very big, loud, stupid, very, very entertaining action games, but they're not this. This is really fucking good. And I did, for a period, I felt really sheepish, because I realised that the next day, it was the night before, I was shelling out £500 for a console that I bet probably couldn't run this old PC game on optimum settings. And it just made me think stupid. I was like, why aren't I playing PC? As good as the 360 version is, and it is tremendous, for a moment I was like, God, PC gaming is what it's all about. But anyway, Crysis is great. I really didn't need another game, but there it is.
Yeah, never played it, but always wanted to, but probably never will now.
Why? You should. It's great.
Yeah, but I'm not going to go and dig out the 360 and plug it in just to play some old ass game.
Play it on PC for like £1 or something. That's what PC games cost.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Okay, my number 8, another game from the humble Android bundle, or kind of anyway. It's I don't actually know how to say this. I'm going to call it Rrimmed Capsule. RymdSkapsel. I'd heard of this before. It's an indie game, obviously. It's a kind of space strategy. I have no fucking idea how to explain it. The reason I don't even know how to explain it is I didn't really understand what I was doing. It seems to be some sort of spaceship station building game mixed with Tetris, but everything's done in a super, super minimalist way. I got it on Android. It confused the fuck out of me. Then the guy from Future Lab tweeted that it had come out free today on Vita as well, or on PlayStation Mobile anyway. And it felt like when I was playing it on Android that it could do with controls, D-pad and whatnot.
Yeah, right.
So I've downloaded the Vita version and had another go, but again, it was kind of lost on me. It's all a bit confusing. It's one of those things where I can tell, I've read that it's very good, I've heard that it's very good, but as it starts up, the starkness of it and the kind of confusing language, my brain's just going, I don't want this anywhere near me. Take this away. Just put some UFC or some fucking steak in front of me. I'm not interested in anything that requires this. But I know the other part of my brain's like, no, this is supposed to be good. So I had that conflict, but today the other side won out. But I'll go back to this one. I'm intrigued.
I think I know the game you're talking about, and I wouldn't know how to say it either. Yeah, so it's actually free on PlayStation Mobile, or you had to pay for it?
Yeah, there's a couple of games. I'll talk about another one in a minute. A couple have just come out as like a festive offer or something. 2 games on PlayStation Mobile for free. This one and one I'll talk about in a minute.
Okay. Do the actual physical PlayStation Mobile still exist?
Yeah, in fact, when I got my Android, the guy in the shop was talking about the new Sony phone, saying it was absolutely amazing, but I've been tricked by phone people before. And but that had the PlayStation symbol on it, like on the screen. So I assume that's a PlayStation Mobile, but it didn't have a controller or anything. Not like that one.
Yeah.
The one that actually had the pad built in.
Yeah. I'll always associate that with the N-Gage, so I just assumed they were dead.
N-Gage, that's my boy. Gizmodo, mate, all day.
Okay, all right. My number 7. It's not my number 7. It's blatantly my number 1, and it's not even a game. But I thought I might as well speak about it because people seem to be interested. It's the Xbox One console.
Okay, right. No, I am interested by this because you've been holding off basically all week.
Yeah.
In our conversations.
Yeah. This is really difficult. The first few hours were a joy, and then after that, it's just the console was not ready to be released. I think that's the most important part. Everything about it feels rushed. And when you rush anything, 50% of what you come up with is likely to be inspired, and then 50% of it is likely to be ham-fisted and just fucking stupid. The good thing, and the reason why I picked Xbox, although I'm going to get both machines, the reason that I picked Xbox, aside from the fact that all my friends have it, is that Microsoft have demonstrated that they are listening to the people that buy their machines. So I'm hoping that all of the problems are going to be fixed as soon as possible. But primarily, things have been made complicated for absolutely no reason, and some of it just doesn't make any sense. The 2 things that I think are synonymous, or the 2 things that the Xbox 360 got perfectly right, is the way friends were managed and the way achievements were managed. I'm not a massive achievement nut, but here, I mean, I've got friends who are really into achievements and they love them, and this has killed their enthusiasm. So I hope they fix it for that. And the friends implementation just doesn't work. Have you heard?
So what happened? I know nothing basically. I know nothing about the machine apart from I've held the controller, played a few games, and I've seen the front end stuff working in videos a couple of times. But apart from that, I know nothing. I know nothing about specifics like that.
Okay. Well, basically, the dashboard is a souped up version of the Xbox 360. It's a little bit slicker, but it's more or less the same. Friends implementation, if you want to check if your friends are online, I almost phoned a mate the other day because I thought it would be quicker than going to find, because if you're in a game you come right out back to the dashboard and then you press the friends button, and the friends button brings up this feed, and that's the other thing. The Xbox One is not fast.
I have heard this. Yeah.
All you really want. I mean, it could even look a little bit ropey, but you want it to be fucking zippy.
Yeah.
It kind of chugs the way the 360 does, and I was just like, okay, I'm waiting for the friends page to load, and it comes up with this feed. So and so unlocked this. So and so shared a video. All this stuff that I have no interest in knowing. And then you have to click another panel, and then it loads again, and then and then finally your friends come up. But why put those barriers in between just seeing what your friends are doing? You also can't set it. There's no setting so that it comes up when your friends come online, so you don't know when they're online half the time.
What?
Yeah, it's completely bizarre. Completely bizarre. I mean, there's loads of stuff like that. The achievements, again, if you get an achievement, you bounce back to the dashboard, and then you go to an achievement page, and then it loads, and then this thing comes up, a circle going round, and it goes ding, 100%. These are, I'm adding these sounds. There's no sound. Just a circle goes around. It goes 100%. And it's like 100% of what? 100% of one achievement. So yes, and then it shows you this big picture showing what you've done. If you want to see if one of your friends has got that achievement back out, or like see what the other achievements are, it's a pain in the neck. You basically go, wait for a few seconds, see this thing spin around, and then get this big picture. And it's like, well, you want to see if your friends have done it, what the other things are that you can do. You know, if you care about achievements, that's important.
The stuff that's been there for 8 years.
Exactly. And they've changed it just to fucking change it, I think. I think they've just messed things around. And because, like I said, it feels rushed. Mm-hmm. It doesn't feel truly next gen. It really doesn't. I said to a mate, it's like, do you remember that RAM pack he got for the N64? I feel like I've stuck something on top of the 360 and it's souped it up a little bit. Kinect works amazingly well. I mean, it really does work quite staggeringly well. I mean, as soon as you sit down, it signs you in. The problem is that it's really fuzzy about when it's on, and you can turn it off as a chat device, but then sometimes it turns itself on as a device over Skype, which changed that setting back. At least that's what it did for me. It happened to a friend of mine as well. It seems everything's about it's just confusing, and there is lots of waiting. You are looking at that Microsoft Swirl going round, which is the last thing you want to see when you're moving between menus on an Xbox.
Yeah. This is mad because when the 360 came out, when it had the old system, the blades, the first dashboard that it had, it was quite snappy.
Yeah.
It wasn't slow. Like, it was a little slow to bring up the guide, but you know, it was fast, and it's got slower and slower and slower. So I was hoping that the new machine, everything would be lightning quick. That was what I'm sure they were talking about it being lightning quick.
Yes, that's one of the most annoying things about it, because because
that doesn't make you feel like you've bought.
No, it doesn't.
A very expensive box, does it? You know, my PC. We talk about the PC, and it was very expensive compared to these consoles. But you know, I turned that on from nothing to boot it up in the main menu. It takes like 7 or 8 seconds, and that's a full startup, and then everything on there is instant, basically.
It's one of many things that just is just kind of deflates you a little bit. I mean, I was loving the console for a few hours, and I still like it. I just think that Microsoft have got a fuck of a lot of work to do. What else is wrong with it? Chat is I don't even know where to begin with chat, because it's all done via Skype. But for some reason they've separated party chat. So if you're in a Skype conversation and you get invited to a chat, you'll still be in the Skype conversation. You have to enable chat in one channel, hang up the call. All of this doing this stuff is so confusing. It was a farce listening to me and my mates trying to hang up a Skype call. In the end, Xena just put his fucking pad down and played games with the call still going, because you can't figure out how to do it. And then sometimes you join a party, and it's you have to enable party chat. You have to bring up another menu. It doesn't work. It's mental. And they've separated it, because if you have a party chat and then you go into Skype, it says you were Skyping 2 minutes ago. It's like, okay, why could I not have them together? It's honestly, it's mad. And in some games like Killer Instinct, if you're in a party, it won't let you play ranked matches against other people, because you can't play because you're in a party. The party system is very, very, very confusing, and I think there's been a lot of upset about it. So that's liable to be fixed.
It's all so weird.
It is weird. It just feels like they've rushed it. That's all that there is to it.
Yeah.
There's the Snap stuff doesn't work. So you say Xbox Snap Skype. You can't snap Skype. Yeah, Xbox Snap Netflix, that doesn't work. Yeah, Xbox Snap Settings, you can snap your settings on there. Oh, 4OD works, but that's the other thing. If you're playing a game and you have 4OD running on the snapped box next to it, you can have them running at the same time, but there's no way to choose which audio you want, so it just plays both. so you can't hear one. You can't say I just want to mute that and play that. It plays both audio. Half of the programs are unsnappable. I've made a couple of videos which you put on your feed. I can't remember what they call it.
The SkyDrive things.
It's saved on the SkyDrive, but it's called like video.
Upload
Studio, that's right.
Upload Studio,
and it's really neat. The design, the interface is great. You use the right thumbstick, the left thumbstick to trim the beginning, the right thumbstick. It's really, really efficient. As soon as I saw the layout, I was like, that's really clever. But again, there's so much waiting involved. And then when you upload a clip, obviously it's not going to be in full high def because that would take too long. But it's in a very, very low definition video. It's almost impossible to figure out how to delete saves or delete stuff from your hard drive. I went on the Xbox.com and it said if you want to delete stuff, you have to boot up the game you want to delete stuff from, ignoring the fact that you might have, ripped a disc onto there. And it says, it's in the menus, and some of them, as it says, you have to go into the games menu, and there'll be somewhere in each game where you can delete the saves and stuff. In some games,
this thing sounds like a fucking nightmare.
We were just like, what the fuck is this? It's been rushed. I think that's the bottom line. They've rushed it out, and they haven't thought things through. They haven't had the time to think things through. So they've just made a load of changes just because it's new. Honestly, it's a maddening box.
It sounds like when Windows 8 came out and people were saying, I can't find the start menu, I can't get to my programs, I don't understand how it works. People, these weren't like grannies that were saying that. These were our peers, technologically minded people.
Well, actually, when I realised that you couldn't turn Connect off, when I realised that I was playing games constantly with Connect on and it was constantly outputting whatever I was saying when I was playing online, I checked how to. Even the info panels, there's like we'll help you get started. How to do this on the dashboard, like help panels. They're misleading. One of them says if you want to turn your Connect off for audio chat or whatever, just go to the settings menu on the main menu. There is no settings on the main menu. So I had to go. I had to ask Skype, Xbox. You say not Skype. You say Xbox Snap settings, and that works. But then I thought, oh my God, if you want to access your settings but you don't want to use Connect, you can't. But you can, but they've put it inside the games part of the dashboard. So you go into games and then there's settings there for everything as well as games. Honestly, it's a mad machine. It is a mad machine. And some of the coolest things like turning it on, I'm too guilty to do it because it says if you have that mode on, it's going to drain a shitload of electricity. Do you want to do that, or do you want to be on the nice power save mode? And I'm like, all right, I'll turn that off in that case. Yeah. The pad is okay. I think they've screwed the bumpers up. They're at a funny angle, and you have to hold the pad quite differently. And the Xbox 360 bumpers, you could just sort of lean on and just sort of...
Yeah, I almost just twist my index fingers sort of towards them, yeah.
Yeah, you just sort of... A lovely little caress almost. This is like a click, 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 a really, really awkward click. When we were spotting people in Battlefield, everyone's like, I can't do this.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me when I was playing. I was trying to spot and it wasn't depressing. I was having to take my finger fully off the thingy, the normal trigger to do it.
So another thing, this is the last console pad. PlayStation moved away from it with the PS3. The Nintendo have now got their own built-in battery packs. This is the only one that requires AA batteries, and there's just lights all over it. There's the main light on the Xbox light doesn't go off. There's two blinking red lights which speak to Connect. They don't go off. If you plug in the headset and you put it on mute, another big light comes on. You're just like, you could at least be a bit more power efficient, seeing as you're the last bastard machine that's forcing me to buy batteries for a controller. It's mental. It's mental.
And it's huge.
And it is. I mean, it is a big bastard machine. Yeah. All I've got here notes is just bad stuff. I'm trying to think of really great stuff. I mean,
is it more like the games are good that you've played? And
I'll get to that.
Yeah, sure.
But the three video Skype that works like a dream. Connect is a marvel. It's a marvel in the way that everyone thought the first version of Connect would be. This really is the real deal. This really is like... Actually, one more thing. When we were playing Battlefield, we didn't realise it. We were in a Skype conversation and we jumped into Battlefield together. We were playing, all of us, as normal, with loud Battlefield playing, and we were using Connect to chat. When they said, and everyone went mental, there's no headset packed in because you can just use Connect. And everyone's like, how can you do that? It fucking works.
So their voices were coming through the TV?
Yeah, they were coming through the TV, and it wasn't at to the detriment of the sound, and I wasn't shouting. I had the TV on quite loud, and it was all explosions and whatnot, and we were talking to each other like normal through Kinect. And I was like, God, this fuss that everyone made, and it does actually work as a chat. I mean, have you ever been in Ministry of Sound since they've had their new sound system?
I've never been there whatsoever.
Oh, right, okay. Well, in 5 years ago or so, they had this sickeningly expensive sound system put in, and you can stand in the main room in the centre of the dance floor with the loudest music, almost deafening. And you can lean over and talk to each other and still hear each other. And I don't know how it's meant. When Nick, our friend Nick, took me there, and he showed it to me, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, "What? This is mad! You can actually just have a conversation without shouting." It was like that. We were talking normally as if it was through headsets, and it was coming through. I don't know how they've done it. Incredible. That aspect of it, incredible. In fact, everything to do with Kinect is quite amazing. In terms of positives, I'm going to have to think because I haven't written them down. I think I've just been so amazed by how fucking dumb some of it is that I've just kind of forgot. There are good.
Sounds, to me, baffling and nightmarish. These types of confusing menus and things like that just drive me up the wall.
I wish I'd recorded us trying to get out of a Skype call. I wish I'd recorded it. I mean, at the end of the day, the first 48 hours were quite nice because I had two friends and we were all sort of figuring the console out together. Yeah. So there was loads of gags. You know, everyone was like, "How do you do this? How do you do this?" And I'm just like, "Say Xbox Snap," and then sorry, Xbox Unsnap. Say what I just said, and you're talking to each other and constantly triggering your own stuff. Hearty. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. There are some really impressive aspects of it because it's like a 50-50 split, but I've only recall the stuff that makes me really angry because it is mental. There's no logic behind it. I'd like to ask anybody who worked on the implementation of this dashboard of these systems, why would you make it so hard? Like I said, I literally almost picked up my phone to ask if someone wanted a game or something because it was quicker than going to the friends menu to see if they were even online. Achievements, trying to just see if you've got an achievement that your mate hasn't. There are times when I don't even know how to do that. Sitting here right now, if I can't even think. I don't know. It's anyway. I'll think of the good aspects when I talk about the games, but at the moment, those are my impressions of the machine. It just driving me mental right now.
All right. Well, yeah, I'll have by the time. Well, fingers crossed the fucker turns up. But by the time this comes out, I should have the PS4, so we can do the same next week on that one.
Nice.
But yeah. Damn.
Yeah,
I'm feeling confident about my choice right now. I have to say. I mean, I'm not passing judgment. I ain't played the fucker, but I don't like the bumpers. That's all I know. Another thing I don't really like is another game from the humble Android bundle, which is my number 7, which is a game called Swordigo. I say I don't like. That's a bit unfair. It's absolutely fine. It's a 2D side-scrolling kind of action game where you play as a sword dude and. I didn't play it for very long. It looked like... I don't know. It looked like if someone gave me a thing that allowed me to make a game and said, "Quick, make a game. You've got till tomorrow." This feels like the game I'd make. Now, I know there's developers that listen to the show, and I know fully well that if anybody asked me to do that, I wouldn't even be able to get one line of code down. So don't think that I'm being facetious or rude. I don't actually know how to do anything. But in my mind, this is the game that I'd make. Very simple looking, really rudimentary animation. The systems are fine. You double jump, you can hit things, you get XP, jump over platforms. I don't know. I don't really know. It feels like one of those games if you played it on your phone when phones first were able to play games. Not games, but smartphones. You go, "Oh, this is cool. This is like a real game." But now it's already completely antiquated and would have been antiquated had it come out on anything else. So yeah, I don't have a lot to say. It was part of the bundle. I deleted it straight away.
Oh, so you'll never play that again?
It was just there's a game that I'm going to talk about later in the list, which is of the same genre. It's very very similar genre, and I thought, well, I'm not. If I spend even 2 more seconds playing Swordigo, that's 2 less seconds I could be playing this other game, and that would be stupid.
Okay, sounds. Yeah,
I mean, I don't want to hate on the game. There's nothing wrong with it, but there was very little right with it.
Okay, right, fair enough. Okay, speaking of games that there is something wrong with, my number 6 is a game called Deadfall Adventures on the Xbox 360. Have you heard of this?
I have heard of this, but I've not seen it. I don't think.
It's come out of nowhere. Basically, it's a PC game that's also on 360. It's the front cover looks like it's an Indiana Jones ripoff, and it basically is. It's as soon as it started, I thought, great, this is the year's second cheap and slavish ripoff of Uncharted. After that god awful PlayStation 3 game, the Trial of Ibn Battuta or whatever the hell that was, because the music's there, the slow panning shot over the table with the map and the gun. I was just like, oh come on, man. First thing I did though, I noticed that there was multiplayer, and I thought, okay, I'll try. I didn't even know what the game was. I assumed it was a rubbish third-person Uncharted ripoff, but I went into multiplayer. There are 11 multiplayer modes, and you can't search all of them. You can only search them individually. So there's like Team Deathmatch, Lone Wolves, Protect the Artifact, and all that stuff. So you have to. You can't pick, do a quick match. You have to pick one of those settings, and you can't leap into an active game. You have to just sit and wait in a lobby. And I just thought, if this game mode didn't exist, these menus are perfect at hiding it, because nobody's playing this game. Nobody. I mean, I sat in for a very long time in all manner of different lobbies. I mean, why would you be playing this? Why would you be? And if you're going to be playing this, why would you play the multiplayer?
Yeah.
So it's like Need for Speed's Hot Pursuit. They've kind of structured the menus so that you can't jump into live games, and you have to you basically can't quick match. It's mental, so it wouldn't surprise me if it sort of turned out that these modes don't even exist. Anyway, after that, I jumped into the main game. It has the production values of a PS2 game, and the cutscenes are truly laughable. I mean, it's from a different era. I don't know what it looks like on PC, but on 360, it could have been a launch game easily. There's a cutscene, introduces the great characters, Indiana Jones. What's his name? He's Alan Quatermain's great grandson. It's like James Lee or something. James Lee Quatermain, the main guy. He demonstrates, like that character in the Ibn Battuta game, that it must actually be really hard to make a lead character who's quite cocky, and because Nathan Drake is a likable character, I suppose. Ibn Battuta was just an unbelievably unlikable, complete twat of a guy, and this character as well. He's like, they're trying to make his arrogance charming, and he just ends up seeming like the most ferocious shithead. I don't know. It's just terribly. The writing's terrible. You've got two sidekicks. One of them's a fat, schlubby guy who might, maybe you should trust him, maybe you shouldn't. And the other character, breaking the very fabric of video games, is a feisty, red-headed woman. She's very, very well endowed, and she's hot, man. Anyway, I thought it was a third-person shooter. It's not. It's a first-person shooter. There's a caption comes up at the beginning. It says, "Deadfall Adventures is about exploring." Look for hidden treasure and clues in every crevice and every nook and cranny. There may be treasure.
How about you go fuck yourself? How about that?
That's what the game is. You go from place to place to these boring temple. It's like a temple, and then there's this, and there's blah, blah, blah. It's a shooter. There's puzzles that involve pressing one button, but if you want to bring out the best in the game, go and look for stuff in like really, really dull and boring corridors. All of these collectibles are tied to a simplistic 3-tiered upgrade system. Path of Light, Path of Life, Path of Warrior. Each corresponds to a different set of skills. Path of Warrior? Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. And no matter how many times or how much I toyed with the control settings, I constantly felt like I was running around with elastic bands around my ankles. So I don't know whether it's a bad port from PC or whether it's just a game that just does not feel very nice to even to walk around. Rubbish puzzles. Occasionally you like turn things and then there's a beam of light that lights up another thing, but they're always so straightforward. It's ridiculous. There are bugs, sloppy presentation. I mean, I had to reload this checkpoint because some enemies just wouldn't die. You'd shoot them repeatedly in the face. The presentation, there was this one big action scene where this temple's collapsing, like run, and then it fades out like you're about to run away from this collapsing temple, and then it's just you in the same room. The guy who was about to be killed has vanished. You're with this girl. There's no noise. Yeah, it's not completely awful because even though it rips stuff off, I mean, it rips off Alan Wake when you're taking on these zombies. You have to use your torch. And I'm like, I do like that system, and it hasn't been ripped off before. So fair play for ripping off something that's never been ripped off before, I guess. It's just a mess, a first-person shooter mess. I'll say one thing about it that's perfect. The bad guy is basically Adolf Hitler in a flight jacket, in a pilot jacket. I don't know who voiced him, but I have a feeling that somebody owed someone a favour and this was the payment, because the guy that does the voice for this Adolf Hitler character is amazing. It's the one aspect of the game that should live forever because his performance is timeless, and I can't even begin to. I'll try and see if I can find some and put it there at the end of this podcast. It's unbelievable. That guy's performance is unreal. Imagine the campest, most over the top, maybe people will kill you. It's unreal. It's unreal. I'll try and put a bit at the top at the end of the podcast if I can find some. It's an awful game. Why have I spoken for this long about it? It's just it shouldn't exist in this day and age. It's God, it's crap.
Yeah, another classic on Xbox Live Arcade at the end of its life.
It's not downloadable. This is a full box game. £40. £40, boy.
Holy shit! I did not know that. I just thought it was a £12 job.
And can you imagine? That's why I was.
Imagine if you got that for Christmas.
Oh, don't, poor Bart. That's going to happen to some kids.
I know it's going to happen. They're like, awful. What would they want? Like Dead Island or something else with dead in it? You know, Red Dead Redemption. Here you go. Oh dear.
It's a shame. I mean, I might try and put some footage of the game up on the YouTube channel because you do just think, what era are we living in? That this is a game that's just come out and people expected to buy, and it's not download. It's a disc.
I don't understand.
No, I'd like to know how many copies this sold. Genuinely, I would, because I reckon it's probably 40 or something, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Me neither. Real mystery.
All right, quick one again. I'm basically just rattling through my ones quickly because I know you've got next gen stuff to talk about, so that works. Mm-hmm. A game called Epoch. Don't know how you technically pronounce that word. On the Android again, this is a third-person cover shooter where you play as a robot. It looks really nice on I've got the Samsung Galaxy Note 3, which is a big old phone, big screen. I assume it's like fucking the innards of it are insane. The guy was talking me through it in the shop, and I'm pretty sure it's more powerful than fucking 360. Anyway, it looks really nice, and it plays fine. It's got quite nice systems in there. It's you could kind of tap on the guys to aim, and then you swipe down to crouch behind the cover, swipe left and right to move between cover, and then swipe up and you do like a high spin move between the cover. You can't move forward. It's all about clearing waves and then moving on. Everything about it was well made. Everything about it is nice. Like I said, it looks good. It's the type of game, if you don't have any other machines and you played this would be something you might play for hours. I can imagine someone who's, you see them on a train, people who don't really play games, and they're stuck on like the 9th level of a game like this. But I don't really see the point personally in trying to play a game that's aping a console game, and I've got hundreds of pounds worth of consoles in the house. And even when I'm out and about, I'd rather play something that's, I've always said this, something that feels purpose-built for that type of device. Epoch, it's fine. It's a really fucking good effort and it looks great. But again, I just felt like any time spent on this, it's time taken away from something that I should be playing. Yeah.
What's the native platform? Is that...
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it's native iOS. But... it might be native Android. I don't know. All these things confuse me now. Now I've stepped away from the warm blanket that is iPhone. Everything's just a bit chaotic. It's like the PC. There's all these different things and shops and different ways of getting things. Like all of these were not downloaded through the standard app store on the phone, and you have to let your phone be able to install stuff not from that standard app store, which scared me initially, but I'm sure it's fine. And it's a lot more, as everyone knows, it's a much more open platform, which makes it more interesting in many ways. But at first, it's quite daunting when you've been on iPhone for 4 years or whatever it is.
What prompted that change?
When the new phones came out, the new iPhones, I should say, when they announced them and they weren't bigger screens, I was like, I'm done. I think I'm done. I'm hearing so much good about the Samsung phones. I think I'm done. And I popped into the phone shop to see if I was due an upgrade, and he said, yeah, your contract ends in 2 days. I was like, that's a fucking coincidence. And because of the stupid, I was on one of those deals where you end up spending way more than you should because you don't have enough data or whatever before. So I ended up spending so much on my previous phone that I could basically get any phone in the whole shop for free on that day. So I was like, do you know what? I'll get this big fucker. It's very, very good. I like the big screen.
Okay.
It's a hell of a lot bigger than an iPhone, and I like that.
I like to think I will move over at some point because I've been on iOS since day one almost.
And that was the other thing. I just fancied a change. I don't want to be one of those people that's like, oh, this is the only thing I know. I'm stuck in my ways. I don't think that's good for you particularly. And obviously, it's not a good idea to switch to something inferior. But a week in or whatever it is, and it's definitely not inferior. It's just different.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll show it to you when I see you soon.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Wicked. Okay, all right. My number 5 is a game called Crimson Dragon on the Xbox One. This is a download-only game, and it's a spiritual. It's a Panzer Dragoon sequel that was originally supposed to be on Xbox 360, and it was originally, I think, supposed to be Kinect only.
Is it not Kinect only anymore?
Kinect. It doesn't utilise Kinect. You can go through the menus using voice commands, but you don't use Kinect. You use the control pad. With regards to, I mean, if it was a 360 game, you'd be relieved if they axed Kinect support. But I was kind of curious because the new Kinect is so good. I kind of would like to have seen what this was like with the new Kinect.
Yeah.
But it still looks like an Xbox 360 game. It's not a good looking game in the slightest, and there's all sorts of things wrong with it. I mean, if everyone knows Panzer Dragoons are sort of on rails, shoot 'em up, where you're sort of riding around. You're not riding on dragons, there, are they? On the Panzer Dragoons, there's
I thought you were a dragon.
Are you I haven't played those games in such a long time.
Yeah, me neither. I'm pretty sure you are a dragon.
I can't remember whether you were a dragon or some sort. Anyway, whatever. On this, you're riding a dragon around. But like I said, there's so many things wrong with it. I'm not quite sure where to begin. It's got the most obnoxious camera in any game I think I've ever played because it almost does feints and bluffs on you. Because you're flying around this environment and you have very limited control over your dragon. The right thumbstick is the target rescue and the left thumbstick is the dragon, but it moves so sluggishly that you just think, why have I been given this control when I can barely move? But what it'll do, the camera will whip round and it will show you like some collectibles, and you'll move your fucking dragon into the corner of the screen, ready to collect these collectibles, and then it'll whip somewhere else, and then you'll be shooting at stuff. And it's just like, why are you winding me up? I mean, it's one of those games that you should be able to race through and then go through again because you enjoyed doing it, rather than learn everything and It doesn't warrant the investment of time that it's asking for, and it also just does things like at one point there's enemies in front of you and there's enemies behind you, and then you start shooting enemies at the back, and then you just start hitting rocks because you can't see where you're going. There's this wingman system which kind of alleviates the problem a little bit because you can press up on the D-pad and send another dragon and he'll shoot guys in front, and then you press back and they'll shoot the guys behind you. Blah blah blah. But it's just kind of, there's loads of slowdown for a game like this. It doesn't look particularly nice at all. Almost all of the enemy projectiles are lock-on. So there's a barrel roll move using the bumpers. So say you've got some bullets coming towards you, you barrel roll to the left, and then they'll follow you. So you have to barrel roll to the right. And when there's loads of enemies on the screen, you're just hitting the barrel roll button over and over and over and over again, which doesn't feel particularly good. It doesn't look particularly good, and it's no fun. It's just a really, really ho-hum game that barely works. The story's insane. I mean, I don't know why there's a story. There's a story involving, apparently there's a virus. You go to this planet because all of these animals on this planet have a virus, so you have to wipe them out. And it's so misjudged because all these indigenous creatures tend to look like rare birds and dolphins and stuff, and almost always they're just trying to get away from you while you're shooting them. So that just feels weird. And then there's this one bit I remember when you kill a boss, and then your woman comes, your boss comes over the your what do you call her?
The fucking the woman that speaks in your ear and tells you what to do.
The woman tells you what to do. She's like, oh god, I don't know why these guys are so aggressive. Why did he attack like that? It must be because of changes in his habitat. And I was like, changes in his habitat? The human race has come down to just completely decimate everything on this planet, and I think he has earned the right to be a little bit pissed off. Doesn't make any,
it's just got a bit hot.
Yeah, it's just, honestly, I don't know what's wrong with him. They try to, these human beings are genocidal, but they try to make them sound conscientious as well. But there's all this stuff about this virus, and it appears to not be contagious, and like, why are they wiping out these animals? And then there's these brief cutscenes where this guy talks about losing his parents, and then there's this brief hint about this corporation called, I can't even remember what, and I just felt like saying, guys, you don't want to tell this story, and we don't want to have to fucking listen to it. Why does it have to be? Is this some sort of box they have to tick? Do publishers insist that they have a narrative? I don't understand, because there's nothing about this game, nothing about an on-rail shooter that needs a story about a fucking virus that doesn't even make any sense. It's mad. I don't know. And then this thing this virus is, even if it was contagious, you have to kill these beasts, and then you have to take the antibodies that come from killing them, and then feed them.
It's making me feel sick just listening to this story.
You feed these antibodies to your dragons, and then you can stat them up and stuff. Anyway, it's rubbish. It's of no interest. It's nothing. It's a quintessential launch game. It's rubbish. Don't even bother. And there's microtransactions in it. You die.
Of course there fucking is.
You die a few times, and then it's like, would you like to buy a revival gem? And you're like, yeah. Apparently there's 3-player co-op coming via a DLC at some point, but not even that will be able to salvage it. I'm sure it's rubbish. I mean, it's just
Revival gems. I love revival gems.
Yeah, especially when you've paid £16 for a game that's not even worth a fiver.
Great. A game without revival gems is my number 5. Sorry, it is a game called Passing Time on Vita on PlayStation Mobile. This is the other game that was free. This is it's a funny little game. It's made by the people that made Frobisher Says, and they've got something like Super Exploding Zoo coming out, or something like that, I think, which apparently is going to be the shit. But anyway, it's a funny little thing. It feels like something that a skilled programmer made in a day or two. It's a football game, but it's a game of like piggy in the middle. A bunch of players are in a circle, they're your players, and then a bunch of opposition players are in the middle of the circle trying to get the ball, and you basically pass it around the outside of the circle by tapping on the different players. It's all touchscreen. And if you can chain together a few passes, you get a flame icon in the corner, hit that and it sets your ball on fire, and then you can pass it through the opposition players and set them on fire and kill them. And the idea is just to get as many passes as you can and beat your own high scores, and it's got leaderboards and shit. There is also a mode where you can play a proper match, but it doesn't really work properly. And there might be some other stuff in there that the menus are a little bit confusing. But the main game, it's actually fun and quite addictive, but it's very much a phone novelty game. It's not something to spend hours on. But it's cool. It was free, obviously, so that helps. But the satisfaction of pinging the ball around is quite good, and then after you've killed basically the initial batch of players who basically follow the ball around like a 2-year-old, a bunch of players start coming in from the outside, and they will split up and spread out to try and block off people that you could pass to, and then it becomes quite good. I mean, the match is never going to last longer than a minute. Well, certainly not when I was playing it. But you'll hold on to the ball and wait for the exact right time and the right player to pass to, and it's a good, it's sort of perfectly made for what it is. That's why I said it's by someone with skill, even though it feels like it's been made very quickly. The one surprising thing is it takes fucking ever to load. When it was first loading, it takes like 15 seconds, which for any Vita game is quite a long time. And then when you see what it is, it's just like sensible soccer graphics, but not even a whole match. So what the hell are you loading? But the game's it's fun. I'd go and get it if you've got a Vita or indeed a Sony phone, a PlayStation phone, because it's free for. I assume it says festive, so I assume from now until Christmas or whatever. Okay, but cool. Yeah, that and Rrimmed Capsule, however the hell you say that. Definitely go and get them both. Why not? They're free.
Is there multiplayer on it?
I don't think so, but now I've said that, maybe I saw multiplayer. No, I'm pretty sure there's not, but don't hold me to that. All of my games this week, apart from the top 2, I've not had any time to play anything, and I knew because you were doing so much next gen that I've been playing games for fuck all time, basically, just to get stuff to fill the gaps between you talking about your games. So I'd like to have spent more time on a few of these things. This has probably been the first on my list I'd like to spend a bit more time with. But anyway, Passing Time. I did it to pass a small amount of time.
Okay. Well, I'll look into that one anyway. I think it would be good on multiplayer, so it'll be a shame if it's not on it. Okay, one number 4 is Ryse, Son of Rome on the Xbox One.
Here we go.
I don't quite understand why people have been as unkind to this as they have. I mean,
people have hated this for months.
They have. I mean, people. I'm getting to a point. I think I'm already at a point. I have been at a point for a little while where I just don't really want to know anything about any game until I can sit and play it. I have no interest. I don't get excited about E3 anymore. I don't get excited about anything. I just want the game, and then I'll judge it there and then.
I wouldn't recommend that way of thinking. Otherwise, everyone will stop listening to this. But for you, it makes sense.
Well, that's what I do, though, isn't it? I don't know half of the stuff I play I've never heard of.
No, but I mean, if they won't listen because they'll want to do what you're doing.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. Yeah, I'm an idiot. I'm an iconoclastic idiot. Don't do what I do.
We already knew that.
Yeah. Okay. Rhys Son of Rome. I don't understand why people have been as unkind to this. Well, I do, because the biggest problem with it is that it's terribly repetitive. But for the first 3 hours, I mean, I texted you, didn't I? I said, this is fucking wicked.
Yeah.
I said, this is absolutely brilliant. I can't believe how good this is. If they had put this out for a tenner and it was 3 hours long, it would have been up there in the pantheon of the all-time greatest ever launch games. I mean, I started up my Xbox One. My first few games were Battlefield, FIFA, and the Crimson Dragon, which are games that are either from a past generation or upscale. You know, it's not the greatest way to show off the machine. So after being initially underwhelmed, because I mean the machine is confusing and it's confused, and I was just kind of feeling a little bit down on it. Putting this on after about half an hour, I was like, okay, right. I've got a new console. I'm actually genuinely excited about what it's going to be able to do a few months down the line, because it really does look staggering. At first, I mean, one of the first things that happens is that you're in the middle of this siege, and there's hundreds of non-player characters running around. I had to readjust my eyes. There's so much going on. You can't. It's almost as if you can't see that much information happening. It's so busy. It looks absolutely amazing. There are mild technical issues still. I mean, like when an achievement pops up, it can freeze the action. It's a bit more forgivable here just because it's so good looking at points. It's so good looking. But anyway, if you haven't seen it, it's a hack and slash game, a very simple hack and slash game. You've got a parry, a push, a combat roll, and just a hack. And you're just running through these environments, these incredible. I mean, Crytek really are showing off. I mean, there's a bit near the beginning where it just throws you into the jungle, and you're just doing this to try and make the engine look as good as it does. And it's for the first few hours, the combat's really entertaining. It's really it works. The parry system works really well. And there's actually a really neat D-pad sort of management system where you manage. So basically, you sword fight people and then you can execute them. And then there's a QT button prompt, which I know people always berate QTs, but when they're done well, I mean, I didn't. It was a long time. It was right before the end, I think, when I finally got fed up of doing them. But anyway, this D-pad system, every time you do an execution, you can either get extra XP, you can get extra damage, extra focus, which enables you to freeze time basically and get some extra hits in, or you can sort of get it to buff your health up. So depending on how you can shape how you want to play, and if you're doing really badly, you can just every time you execute someone, you get more health, etc. It's so simple, but I really like the sort of Saturday morning dumbness of it. Whenever there was a hint of like political intrigue or something, oh shit, let's stop talking about this. Let's go and fucking kill a load of guys over there.
Good.
And some of the action set pieces are they're incredible. I mean, this is the best looking game. So I have to be honest, I haven't played Forza yet. I hope to have played that before next week. But this is absolutely. I mean, this actually made me. This is one of the main reasons I'm actually not so down on the Xbox One as I thought I was. Because it does. I mean, the problem is that it goes on for too long, and by the end of it, you are just like, I can't have a combat. I can't do this simplistic.
I can't have a combat.
I can't engage in combat this simple for this long. But like I said, if it was 3 hours long, this would be getting at £10, 3 hours long. It would be one of the all-time great launch games, and it looks absolutely incredible. But for those first 3 hours, 3.5 hours, I was absolutely loving it, just because it feels. I never mind buying a new console with a game that's a little bit thin, as long as it shows. Because the Xbox One does such a terrible job of showing that it's a new console. It was left to Ryse, for me anyway, exclusively to do it. And it is fun. It's just that it wears its welcome out because it just keeps throwing the same shit at you, the same enemies, the same combat. But I would not, if I'd paid £40 for this, or God, what is it, 60 or 50?
Oh God, it's some sort of infinite amount of money.
Yeah. The fact that there's microtransactions is awful, but I got through it without needing.
Oh, so you finished the whole game, did you?
Yeah.
But it's quite short, is it?
I was so high on it that I did it almost in one sitting, but I think I don't know. I'd say it's 7 hours, maybe.
Okay.
8.
So not like short.
No, it's not short at all. I mean, it's the problem is that it goes on a little bit beyond when it would have sort of started, because it was just starting to wear its welcome out, which is annoying because I really did love it initially. So that's its only problem. I think mechanically it's really sound. It's simple, but it's sound. And if I'd have paid full whack for this, I wouldn't really be that disappointed, because it is. It did give me that kind of butterflies. Like, God, this is fucking a new machine, new fucking games coming out, great new stuff. Blah blah blah. It's just it's good. I quite liked it.
Yeah, I think I would as well. I know my good buddy Simon on Video Gamer liked it as well. He like me likes fucking burly dumbass shit.
Yeah.
And I've spoken many times on this podcast about how I like meat-headed stuff, but more so in games. I think weirdly, I don't really like crap action movies or like shit hair metal or anything like that. But for some reason, a dumbass game with a lot of shouting, hacking limbs off. When it looks like that, I can find time to play that. Yeah. It's why I'm kind of excited to play Killzone. I know I'm not going to love it, but I've seen what it looks like. I know it's fucking heavy and chunky and shouty. I'm well up for playing that as a new launch game, just to make my new box look nice.
Yeah, see, it's an underrated pleasure seeing, You do want. I mean, I'm sure Forza serves the same purpose and is actually, by all accounts, a better game. But for me, this was one of the high points of the first week.
There's so much. I mean, we talk about it all the time, but there's so much snark, and it's really been kind of exacerbated around these console launches. I think. I just wonder. I mean, I might come back before I finish this sentence. I might come back and having played Ryse and fucking hate it. So I'm not trying to say it's good or anything. I don't know.
I don't think you will hate it at all.
Yeah, I don't think I will either. But that's not what I'm trying to say. People are wrong. People are right. I'm just always amazed at how it seems like most people who are in this journalism side of this business professionally just seem so unhappy about it all the time. They just don't. They're cynical about the new consoles. They don't want any. It's like, why do you do it? This isn't. I don't get it. Why do you do it? If you can't get pumped about new consoles, you're in the wrong fucking job, as far as I'm concerned. You really are.
This is a very weird case, because this has been getting shit for God knows how long, like you said. And I've seen tweets this week, really fucking poisonous tweets. Like, imagine, I can't remember who wrote it. Imagine being that cunt that was waiting for Ryse. Imagine that cunt that was his favourite launch time. And I was just like, my mate was looking forward to Ryse. My mate bought it. He loved it. It's like, he's not a cunt. He just. I'd say the ideal, if you bought an Xbox One, say at a midnight launch with a mate, and then you sat there. I imagine playing this with a friend on just being excited about it, because I think it would make a good pass the pad game, because you sit there.
Yeah,
take it in turns, but then also because some of the executions are really, really quite grisly, and you just kind of it doesn't give you quite enough scope to make your own kills and sort of use the environment enough. It does a little bit, but not enough. But I like it. It's I did really, really enjoy it. It's a shame it runs out of steam, but I like you. I don't quite understand why people have kicked off about it so much.
Yeah. I want to play it. It looks fun. It doesn't look like it's a fucking a life changer, a world changer, but it looks fine.
It is. I mean, fun is something it definitely is for 3/4 of its duration, if not more.
Yeah. All right, well, that's good to hear. Well, you and Simon are both people I trust when it comes to dumbass stuff. So I reckon I'd like it.
Me too.
Nothing wrong with a bit of dumbassery sometimes. It's good to have some balance in your life. You can't just play fucking braid all your life.
Yeah, true.
It's not good for you. Okay, talking of games that are quite smart, actually, my number 5, would that be 5? 4,
no,
sorry.
4, yeah.
Is Hundreds. I'm pretty sure you've talked about this game before, ages ago. Have you, on iOS?
Hundreds?
Yeah.
No,
okay, maybe not.
So.
Another part of this bundle, this is I guess you call it a puzzle game. Basically, how it starts, this is actually on Android. I said that, never mind. It starts, the first level is a circle on screen, and you hold it, and as you hold it, it gets bigger, and the number counts up inside it, and it gets to 100, and you finish the level. Second level is 2 of them. You push them both, they both count up to 50, you finish the level. The next one is 3, they're kind of bouncing around the level, and the idea is you have to get the total number of all the balls in the stage up to 100. Doesn't matter how you do it, but as they're expanding, they turn red, and if while they're red they touch another ball in the environment, then you die. So as it goes on, it gets more and more complicated, and I believe there's 100 levels. even by level 12, it was starting to get quite clever. There was like situations where the bubbles were stuck together on like a line, like a cable almost, and that meant you had to press them both at the same time, but they were moving, so you have to time when you do it, and there's other ones that might get in the way. Apparently towards the end of it, it just gets insanely difficult, but very clever. Everything about it's done really stylishly as well. Kind of minimalist music, minimalist art style. A very confident piece of work. It feels like the developers know that they've got a good idea, they've executed it well, and they're cocky about it. A little bit pretentious, but in a kind of a good way, you know. I don't mind a little bit of pretentiousness sometimes. It was probably one of the better games. There's another one I'll talk about in a minute, but definitely like a cut above most of the games in this bundle. I enjoyed it a lot actually. Also in this bundle was Ridiculous Fishing, which is a brilliant game, which I didn't play. Spell Tower, which is another good game, which I didn't play either. And something called Kingdom Rush, which I didn't get a chance to play. But yeah, Hundreds is a very cool game. It's been out on iPad and iPhone. I think it might struggle on an iPhone, just because I think you need a bit more screen space. But yeah, this is a cool game. This is something. Well, I've kept it on the phone. I want to play more of it. I want to see where it goes.
That's really, hearing you describe that game, it sounds like a game I've played, but I'm sure I haven't.
I vaguely remember you talking about it, but everything's just a blurry mess.
Hundreds. So it's on iOS as well, then?
Yeah, that's where it first appeared, definitely. It's probably been on Android forever as well. But it was always one of those ones. It wasn't a 69p, I don't think. I think it was a £2, which is why I never got it, I think. But like I say, my memory is just basically just a blurry, murky mess of stuff that might have happened and stuff that probably didn't.
Yep, well, me too. Hundreds. Okay, I might check that out because that was just a bit weird hearing you describe. I must have played something that ripped it off, or
maybe Tash had it or something. Maybe. Sounds like something she'd like.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay, my number 3 is Battlefield 4 on Xbox One. I don't want to talk about it for very long. I feel quite hard done by it. It doesn't work really. I'm amazed that DICE. I mean, I kind of got the sense that this was going to happen in the sort of run up to release. It's on so many platforms, and they've got so much DLC, and there are so many maps and so many modes in the game as it is. They've got an impossible task trying to make it all work. One of the most fundamental things that's since the beta, every time you go to browse servers, they're all empty.
Yeah,
0 servers. That's still happening now. So if you search for if you paid for Battlefield Premium in order to get the day one DLC, and you want to play Metro, for example, you can't find it. So you have to either quick match it, which you can't specify which map, or you have to jump into an empty map and wait. I've noticed a little bit of a trick which I found online. If you go into server browser, pick the map, and then add the number of free spots. If you add 1 to 5 free slots, that should find you a few more. Occasionally, it finds you one extra room lobby that's going. But the fact that still doesn't work, and that was a problem in the beta that people were reporting, is mental. And I think that's incredibly sly, because I just wanted to play those maps that are part of Battlefield Premium. Mm-hmm. That's also incredibly snide what they've done, because the DLC schedule, everybody gets China Rising free, but that's the second pack. So that just seems a little bit snide. Releasing, basically saying,
certainly is when it isn't working.
Exactly. And if you pay for Battlefield Premium and then you can't. All I've wanted to do is have a look at Rush on Metro. I managed to find a couple of games on Conquest, and I did manage to find servers going with the other maps, but it was a long, time-consuming process. And the other problem is that you often, a lot of the time, get kicked back to the dashboard. So that's me and my friends playing it on Friday night, all excited. It keeps kicking you back to the dashboard. It keeps shutting the game down or booting you back to the main menu. It just doesn't work. I'm losing love for it by the day. It's just I can't handle this. All I want to do. We were talking about putting Battlefield 3 on because we can't, because half of us have got rid of our 360s.
Yeah, of course.
But your name was Mud because I told them what you said about it looking like the 360 version, and they all think it looks absolutely amazing. It does. I mean, I can tell. I mean, the draw distance doesn't look perfect, and you can tell that you're probably losing something from it not being in 1080, but it does look quite staggering. And when you do get into a game, even though it's only ever for a few minutes, the 64-player Conquest, It is amazing. I thought, as someone who's only ever played Battlefield on consoles, that I was just going to be completely overwhelmed by it. But it does scale. The whole it's just it works. I thought it was going to be absolute chaos, and it is. But your battles are still on the same sort of size.
The thing is about that, though, about the way it looks. I was comparing it to the PC version, and I think that's fair because this is a brand new machine that's supposed to be comparable. Yeah. And I just saw it, and I repeat last week, I was way too close to the TV, so I needed to come back, and I couldn't come back because there was another TV behind me, so that's just the way it was. But even then, I could tell that it wasn't as sharp as it should be, and that's because, it should be running at double the resolution it is running at. Talking of resolution's a bit dull, but Andy on Midnight Resistance put it well last week. He said, day one, this is a pissing contest between these two machines, and when one's coming out with twice the resolution of the other one, and it's cheaper, that's just a bit of a joke.
Yeah, but to be fair to that lot, they just spent £500 on a machine, and the last thing they wanted was for me to feed. So
of course they didn't.
Yeah, there was an element of that.
Well, bottom line, I'm very happy that they're happy. I don't want them to not be happy. So I was concerned when I saw it, but if they're happy, then nothing matters.
Yeah, I mean, one other thing that's very, very irritating about this whole war that's going on consoles with regards to shooters, which last gen was, Sony had Battlefield, Microsoft had COD, and now Microsoft appears to have both of them. You basically pay money to take something away from another audience. You give it to one audience and then you take it away. So you're getting the optimum experience on Xbox One. So it's like they're twisting your arm. With regards to that, I think that's taken on a whole new. It's gone to a whole new level with Battlefield 4. I've tried to sort of explain this to people because I think it's newsworthy. There's a couple of people I've sort of said that maybe this should be a news story because DICE this week, I mean, they did. It was on Paul Walker. I think he broke the news story. I didn't see it anywhere else about DICE saying that the fact that there's no you can't squad up before you play. They said we're not going to implement that. We think that we've got the best way of doing things, or some bullshit excuse that, because I said from day one that it's very weird because it's not like the squad up system's not working or there's somewhere they can put it. It's just not there.
Yeah.
And the thing is, on Xbox One, if you're all in a party and you go and I joined a game, as I did multiple times when we were all in a party, it takes all of you into the game and you're all on the same team and the same squad, which is basically a squad system. So this whole snide DLC, this audience get things first, this seems to be an extension of that because that is the system that is not available on other systems. And
I'd be interested to see if that happens on PS4 this weekend.
Me too. I mean, I've seen a lot of people sharing tweets of people saying that it doesn't work like that. But if so, that's mad because... That's It's if they've used that as a tack to try and get people to go with Xbox One, that's insane. Because I can't believe DICE would do something that would. Because without that system, what you have to do is jump into a game on your own, and then friends of yours have to try and join the server. And if you quick match, which you have to do because not all the servers say they're empty, then you quick match, and then you're normally in a full game, and then you have to wait because you can't queue to go into it. You have to just keep hitting A because you can't queue like you could in Battlefield 3. Part of me is my experience with Battlefield 4 and Xbox One has been less than optimum, and part of me is so angry that I'm convinced it shouldn't have been released. I'm fed up with fucking games. This year's been all about games that should not have been released yet.
It's atrocious.
I just want to play Battlefield. That's all I want. Honestly, Friday night petered out into the most depressing night. Yeah, I'm going to call it a night. I can't be bothered with this because when we get into a game, back to the dashboard.
Yeah, I actually played the 360 version a few matches this week as well. Didn't bother putting it on my list. Same thing.
It doesn't work.
I don't think I finished more than one match. It was just I either didn't get in, it was hanging on the loading screen, kicking me out straight away, or the most frustrating, of course, is being kicked out 15 minutes in.
Awful. I mean,
back to a crashed main menu.
It's caning the shit out of my love for it because it's such a chore to play it. The other thing on Xbox One is if it kind of crashes and freezes, you can't. There doesn't appear to be a way to quit the game. You have to jump into another game that's on your hard drive, which is another just weird thing on the Xbox One. But yeah, Battlefield 4, they've got a hell of a fucking job trying to sort out all of the problems they've got. And if it's going to take 6 months, I'm going back to Battlefield 3.
Damn. All right, strong words. Strong, yeah, but it is piss poor, beyond piss poor. I'll be playing the PS4 version this weekend, so I'll see how that holds up.
Yeah,
but I'm not holding out much hope. Right, my number 3 then is a game called Spider: The Secret of Bryce Manor. Have you ever heard of this game?
I don't think so.
This is this came out on iOS, I think, maybe a couple of years ago, and I remember people raving about it. But again, I think it was a little bit more expensive than most games, so I didn't bother. I don't know why I didn't play it. Anyway, so you play as a little spider, and it's a 2D game. The backgrounds are all kind of almost hand drawn or painted. They look really nice, anyway. And early on, anyway, that you sort of move about as a spider. You can jump, you can cast lines, and then if you make a geometric shape on the space, it turns that into a web, and there's little bugs flying about, and you have to catch the bugs. But quickly, you sort of get into this house, and it doesn't take a genius to work out that there's going to be some sort of interesting story going on in the background, hence because of the title, obviously, and just even from the first few rooms that you go in. And I haven't played it enough to start to uncover what that story might be, but already I'm intrigued. But the coolest thing about it is, a spider's a really cool thing to play as in a video game. It's like a ready-made superhero almost. They've got a bunch of weird abilities, especially one that can jump, that most things don't have. And I tell you what, knowing you, I don't reckon you could hack playing this game.
Yeah, I don't mean.
Yeah, I mean, because you're touching this spider the whole time, and even though it just looks like a cartoon or a drawing, it moves exactly like a spider does. And even I was, I'm getting better with spiders these days, but even it was kind of making my arm tense up a few times. So it's not a particularly creepy game either, but just it has the animation of the legs moving really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't reckon you could play it, but I reckon you should try it. It might be good for you. Or it might scar you forever. It's 50-50, it's a coin toss. But this is definitely one I want to play all of it. And apparently a sequel's been announced today, bizarrely, that's going to be out next year as well. So yeah, people have raved about this ever since it came out. So I'm not surprised. It's very cool.
Okay, you played
the controls are a little fiddly, but it's still really cool.
You played it on your phone?
Yes.
Okay,
this is part of another part of the bundle, but yeah, it's definitely it's part of iOS. It's on iOS.
Okay, all right. Maybe is it free on iOS?
This was part of, I don't know, but this was part of this bundle. Again, it's the last game, part of this bundle.
All right, fair play. Okay, my number 2 is FIFA 14 on the Xbox One. I got it free because it's a day one edition, and so if you've got a day one edition, you've got FIFA 14 free. I'll be very brief. I've spoken about FIFA 14 plenty as of you. This is the best version of it as far as I'm concerned. First thing that happens is that you start installing it, and that's one thing that's cool about the Xbox One, holding that QR code. Beep, you've just redeem FIFA 14, it instantly starts downloading. After it's downloaded 20% of it, you can jump straight in and start playing it. It's only basically a demo, so there's preset teams, and you can only do an exhibition. But it's nice that you can do that. It looks really nice. It doesn't look quite the next gen jump that you might expect, but it does look a hell of a lot better. Just the textures of hair and like shirts and stuff looks amazing. In slow mo, the slow mo replays are so silky smooth. I mean, they look so much better than they have done on other formats. It just looks absolutely incredible. Especially when there's the camera in the corner of the goal, that just looks like television sometimes.
Does it?
The animations are a lot better. The crowds are all in 3D now, so it doesn't just look like jumping,
weird squares. Yeah.
But collisions are better as well. It just looks like they're actually interacting with each other rather than that weird sort of the system that was before it, which often looked awkward and weird, as many comedy videos on the internet can attest. But yeah, so it looks nicer. It's a little bit faster, although not quite as, just navigating through the menus. There's still the old EA spinning wheel thing, which I could do with seeing a bit less of. Modes have been culled, so stuff like Be a Pro isn't in it. But the most important aspects of FIFA, I hear, and I think, if anything, there was too many modes. I don't know who has the time to play all of the modes that are in FIFA, because so many of them are vast and time consuming that it would be mental if there was. If you one person hasn't got that much time, but the game, the reason I'm finding it so easy to say goodbye to Pro Evo is because the game, the on the pitch stuff has been basically fixed.
Right.
Headers have been fixed, so headers off corners, it wasn't uncommon. I mean, if you read the Eurogamer review, he goes into Tom Bramwell goes into very, very great detail about all of the things that happen, but it's. Without realising it, reading some of the stuff, I was like, God, the amount of times you've got a header and your defenders just stand there and a tiny little half-pint player just nuts it in the corner. And you're like, what?
That does my head in.
Exactly, I can't do. Yeah, they've stopped that from happening. Also, your defenders are far sharper because lob through balls are still way too overpowered. They reach their target way too frequently. And playing online, I've played loads online this week. You still get people, and that's all they do, just tap it online. But to sort of tap it with a lob through ball. But your defenders actually do something about it, and it's far less easy to get caught with your pants down. So they've fixed that. It's still annoying when somebody scores a goal after just like long hoofing it from the back, and the striker receives it and he's one-on-one with the keeps. It's still annoying, but it happens so much less that it's actually it doesn't bother me at all. I basically think it's the best version of this game, and one of the best FIFAs I've played in a long time. I played 14 games online. It's silky smooth. It looks great. The only problem with online is that I played 14 games, 1 against Brazil, 1 against Chelsea, and 12 against Real Madrid. So if you get bored of playing against Real Madrid, that's going to be a problem. Ultimate Team's still a genius mode, absolutely incredible. There's Ultimate Team Legends, so there's, in addition to the normal players, week by week they have different legends, and so you
is that an Xbox exclusive?
It's X360 and Xbox One. So there's people like Pele, Freddie Ljungberg.
I can't believe you've mentioned Freddie Ljungberg in the same sentence as Pele.
Louis Figo.
Yeah.
Gianfranco Zola, all those great guys, we know them and love them. Anyway.
Freddie Ljungberg in the same sentence as Pele.
Why, is he not as good?
Freddie Ljungberg is just like some footballer.
Oh.
Pele's one of the greatest ever players. It's like saying Martin Scorsese and James Gunn.
Okay, that's a bit. Yeah, really? Why is he in this Ultimate Team?
I have no idea. Okay. I mean, he was good, but don't get me wrong. But
I thought he was some, because the thing is that
you don't mean Dennis Bergkamp?
No, I think he might be in it as well. Gianfranco Zola, Pele, Louis Figo, all the great guys, legends, all. Anyway, I don't know what the deal is with Freddie L. Ljungberg, because I was playing a game against. You can also take your Ultimate Team and play against a team of nothing but pros, which is, I suppose, I didn't really understand what the point of, because it's really hard, even if you're playing on easy. So if you just want it even harder, then put it on super hard mode. I don't really understand. So I was playing a game, and Freddie L. Ljungberg was in the box, like just tapping it around, like moving, and I was like, well, I can't tackle him. It's like, what is this? An illustration that guy was a really great footballer? Great. Congrats to L. Ljungberg, and I just got scored against after 10 minutes trying to tackle someone who couldn't be tackled. I don't understand it. But Ultimate Team is still a work of absolute genius, and the most important thing of all of this is that FIFA 14 was my first port of call. When I had a couple of friends come around to see, I had to show off the console. FIFA 14 was the console, was the game I picked, because the Kinect implementation during single player is amazing, and it never got boring, and I don't think it will ever get boring, because Kinect, this highlights how good Kinect was. I mean, I used voice controls occasionally on the I think FIFA 13 was the first year they did it, and it worked okay. It was like everything with Kinect. Occasionally it worked quite well, occasionally it just didn't work. So you'd say like substitution 1, and all these boxy menus would come up. Here what happens is you say substitution, and I've tried so many times, substitution picks it up, a little rolling ticker tape will come up with mugshots of each player. Jekko, you say the Jekko, and then it throbs with this really satisfying blue light, and then the substitutes will come on. You'd be like, what's his name, Aguero, and then within about 4 seconds after having done that, the commentator's like, oh, it looks like they're getting ready to make a change. I was like, this is wicked. This is absolutely
really clever.
But it worked. I kept trying to catch it out, and it just nothing would do it. Seeing that throbbing blue light coming up, but you can do all sorts of other stuff as well. You can change tactics, you can change formations and stuff like that, and it's just impossibly impressive. I mean, it's like if Microsoft have made it their mission to get Kinect in people's houses for years, and they haven't, like a dog with a bone. This is the best case I've seen for that enthusiasm, and because it's incredible, absolutely incredible. And the only shame is that you can't use those commands in multiplayer, because I don't know why, actually, because you can turn it off as a chat device. But if they can implement, I'd love to be able to use that in multiplayer, but still. But yeah, FIFA 14, it's for all of the missing modes. I think it's the best version of the game, and it feels like it's finished, unlike several other games.
Well, I'm very excited to play it on Friday. Very excited to play it. Yeah, I've been watching a few videos and whatnot, but it's hard to tell how nice it looks through a YouTube video. You can't really see the kind of sharpness, but you can tell. I could tell the animation was a lot better and things.
It's mainly. I mean, aside from the slow motion replays, I think it's just when you're tapping it around players and when you're shielding the ball, you can notice that the animations are a lot more elaborate and a lot more things happen. It's always hard to tell with football games because, I mean, it's just there's so many different changes, so many new changes made to this over the Xbox 360 version.
Well, that's good that there is, and it's not just the exact same game with higher resolution.
No, this is the next gen version. If you really hated the PS3 360 one, this is definitely a step up, albeit with less modes.
Right, sweet. Yes, pumped for that. All right, my number 2 is Guacamelee, a game I've always wanted to play, but it was like £12, and I was like, I don't know. But I heard it was coming on PS Plus. The team actually announced that it was coming to PS Plus the month before it actually did. I think they fucked up. But anyway, it arrived today on Vita and PS3. It's cross-buy, and it's unsurprisingly, and enough people have said this. It is really good, even from probably played about 45 minutes to an hour, so not a huge amount of time. But if you don't know what it is, it's a 2D platform sort of beat 'em up game. But I'm trying to avoid the sentence Metroidvania, but I can't think of a different way of describing it. It has that kind of a map and backtracking, and you get a power, and then you can go back and get through different parts of the environment. You know the deal. But the coolest things about it are you're this guy called Juan, which works for me. So obviously my name is John. He's just a dude, and then I think he dies quite quickly, and then he comes back as a luchador wrestler with a mask. Straight away I'm in. And then you have to fight these like They're the Dead type skeletons. The whole thing's obviously set in Mexico, and it's kind of, I mean, if you're the type of person that gets offended by things that are not worth getting offended about, you'd probably say it was a little bit racist. But I mean, just don't get offended by what is clearly a very what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of like a warm and friendly take on Mexico. There's no malice here. This is all everything is made out of love. So just sometimes if you're going to get offended by stuff, maybe just choose to think about, are you actually offended or not, and then think about what else you could do. Anyway, Guacamelee, you play as this wrestler, and you're beating up the dead skeletons very early on, and the combat is really satisfying. It starts off where you just have like an attack button, and then triangle come up, hit triangle, and you grapple them, and then you can use the left stick to aim an arrow in sort of any of 180 degrees, and then let go, and it will chuck the guy in that direction, so you can chuck it into other guys, get a combo going like that. Has a roll move, and if you time it right, you parry the strike of the enemy. This is all happening really fast, really smoothly, and even within the first half an hour, I'd racked up a combo over 100. It's not like a classic combo-driven game, but it's more, I mean, it's called Guacamelee, right? So it's more like a burlier, heavier type of punch, chuck, just sort of kind of smashing through things, more like a truck smashing through a fence rather than a Bayonetta type dodging around and sort of silkily nipping around everything and making them look stupid. It's more just like barreling through them. But everything about it's funny. The music's absolutely fantastic. It looks really nice. The art style is really cool, and everything about it is just it's very appealing, very well made. And it's cool. It kind of harks back to a lot of old games without being too cloying, too kind of needlessly retro about it. I like the fact it's not done in pixel art and things like that. It's got its own voice. It's good. It might turn to shit later on, but I've got a feeling it won't. Apparently, it just keeps coming with good ideas. So really like it. I'm definitely glad to play it, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm probably just going to switch it straight back on after this podcast, actually, and keep going, because, I was really digging it.
There is co-op on there, isn't there?
Is there?
I could have sworn there was co-op.
Maybe there is.
Maybe there isn't.
There isn't.
I always get that game, for some reason, mixed up with the game where you're in Malta, not Malta, Mexico, no, you're bank robbers, and it's 4-player, and you have to escape from a prison, and then you...
Monaco.
Top down. Monaco, that's right. The
that's
world
a
is
very
yours.
different game.
Yeah, but for some reason, those two games just always get entwined in my mind.
Malta. Do you know where it's set?
Which one?
Monaco.
It's set in Monaco, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I know. I don't know why Malta came up. I was thinking of like resorts because whenever I think of Monaco, I think of that movie with Steve Martin, Michael Caine, and I was like Malta. I don't know. Malta's not a holiday resort either, really. It's not really like a hotspot. I don't know. My brain is even more of a fuck show than yours. Yeah, I'll download that. Yeah, probably when we finish recording this.
Definitely recommended. Incidentally, on Vita, this happened quite a lot actually. You go into the store and you press the PS Plus button on the store or whatever, and it's got all the old shit on there. But if you just go through the actual games and go to G, it's there for free on your PS Plus. So I don't know why it doesn't update properly. I had that before, but yeah, it's there. So if you can't find it, just do that and you got it. Okay. Also on PS Plus, Sonic Racing's on Vita as well, Sonic Transformed or whatever it's called.
That's wicked.
And on PlayStation 3 is Grid 2, obviously Guacamelee as well, and something else that I've forgotten. So once again, just a joke compared to Xbox games on Gold. I don't want this to come across like, we're Team Sony with this. We're not with Team Games, and that's why this is, that's why it's obviously better, because we'd be lying if it wasn't. If you said it wasn't.
Yeah, true. Although I'm still kind of agnostic on the whole thing because I have a problem with PSN as a network, and I think that what I'm paying for with Xbox Live is basically what it is.
I feel like I'm paying for PS Plus at the moment, and I know that changes for PS4, but right now, that I still feel like I'm happy to pay that £40 just for PS Plus.
Hey, yeah. I mean, I don't. I've got a 3 months worth, and I've loved it. And if Sony have stepped up the way they've suggested they have with regards to online, it might be time to say goodbye to Xbox Live Gold. But we'll see. Gears of War, anyone? Gears of War 1?
Yeah, that's the Gears of War 1. Great.
Which they also gave away with Gears of War 3.
Yeah,
I always just picture them holding onto something. Is that for me? Yeah, take it. Do you want to let go? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's yours.
Yeah, go ahead. We want you to have that game that we could probably still sell. No, you can't.
Yeah, the madness. That's mad, and obviously the innards of the Xbox One seem to be mad. But did you see this thing today about this advert?
Yeah,
that they put out. I mean, you know me, I'm not one to get involved in all this stuff, but that was just absolutely. It's just madness. Well, who thought that was a good idea? We're talking about the things to get offended about. I'm not going to get offended by it. Is it offensive? Is it actually offensive? There's a lot of things that have happened this week outside of games that are very offensive. This isn't one of them. But it's fucking idiotic. Yeah. I'll tell you that much. And it's a PR disaster. And it's from the brain of a fucking idiot. So, yeah. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just Google some of the words that I just said.
To be honest, a friend of mine has said this since the new consoles were released. He said Microsoft are going to make all of the same arrogant and pig-headed decisions that Sony made at the beginning of the previous generation, and it's starting to feel like that. They are assuming that this audience are going to stick by them, and some of them have. My friend Zeno, he's blindly. He gets angry when we start suggesting that we're going to move across to PlayStation. He's like, I'm on Xbox. But they're making assumptions about what people are going to put up with, and I don't know how much more. I mean, we'll see.
We'll see next week. I might get the box on Friday and be like, what is this shit? And then want to sell it immediately. But I don't think I will, but we'll see. And we'll also see a year down the line when these things really matter.
Yeah, at the end of the day, this stuff's fucking unimportant. If it's got great games on it, it doesn't make any difference. Great games that work would be nice, though.
Yeah, Jesus, let's sort that out. Well, I'll tell you what does work. Guacamelee. That fucking works. Good on you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Box.
Okay. All right, well, my number one is Killer Instinct on the Xbox One. A game I've been looking forward to for a decade, maybe more, for every year for 10 years, maybe 10 years, maybe slightly longer than that, maybe slightly less long than that. Whenever anyone asks me, what do you hope they announce at E3? What are you hoping for will come out? It was only ever Killer Instinct. For some reason, Games Press over here were really shitty when that got announced. Like making snide jokes like the original Killer Instinct was rubbish. I have a theory about that, and that's primarily that Killer Instinct came amongst all sorts of games like Primal Rage and Pitfire, all of the games that tried to be Mortal Kombat, not Pitfire, all of the games that tried to be Mortal Kombat in the wake of Mortal Kombat.
Pitfall.
But Rise of the Robots, all of these beat-em-ups.
Rise of the Robots.
There were so many awful beat-em-ups, and Killer Instinct was slap bang in the middle of them. So when people tell me, the original was rubbish, I just want to... 1950s cop movie, flashlight in the face.
Yeah. Also, how many of those people that say that have played it?
That's what I want to know. Tell me about it.
Because I haven't played it.
I want to quiz people on Killer Instinct when they say that it's rubbish, because it fucking wasn't rubbish. It gave birth to some systems that are still in fighting games now. So I was looking forward to this. The game lived up to my expectations at the same time as being an empty shell of a game, and what's there for £16? Basically, everyone can play the game for free with one character, and I mean, play the story mode. You can't call it. There is no story mode. It's called survival mode. Survival mode is just you fight the 6-character roster over and over again until it gets too hard. It's not really a mode. It's just in place because without it there would be no single player. Apparently, a story mode is coming via DLC at the beginning of next year, along with 2 other characters. So it doesn't feel like a complete game. The other thing is the multiplayer is you can have a rank match, or you can have I say you can play a friend, but because of the way the party system's structured, it's impossible sometimes to get a game, because the systems... What happens is you go into a menu to play an unranked game, and it'll say, so-and-so, who... If you say I'm in a party with a mate, so-and-so has been added to your game. And they're like, I haven't been added to your game. But the party is in the game. So if I go to another game, the party will change, but you can't... Another... I don't want to go into that.
That would be the sound of me just softly packing the machine back into the box.
We spent 15 minutes last night just trying to have a game with each other, and we got out of the party.
What a fucking fighting game!
We went into a Skype chat instead of a party and tried to invite each other that way, but they make it really hard to invite people. So these are problems with the machine rather than the game, I think.
Is it going to get to the point where you're going to have to party up on 360 and then just play on...
Believe me, question marks everywhere. I don't know why, along with exclamation marks and profanity also. But the prime problem with the multiplayer is that fighting games now, you have to have a lobby, and you have to have you have to be able to sit in a lobby with some friends and watch the fight that's happening. What do they call that?
Spectator mode.
Spectator mode, exactly. That's a must now. I mean, the spectator mode in Mortal Kombat was brilliant. Soul Calibur had it. The Soul Calibur 5, I should say, although Soul Calibur 2 HD didn't, which was a shame. The Street Fighter games, you need that now. If you want to compete you need that. The fact that it isn't, it's all very bare bones. Whether they'll add it later, I don't know, along with story mode. Who knows?
Well, it's adding later. That's what everything is now.
Exactly.
It's like, no.
Yeah, that's what it doesn't feel. It feels like a shell of a game, and it's a shame, because the actual game is absolutely fantastic. It's so hard to describe fighting games way. It feels like the new Street Fighter 4, Super Street Fighter 4, in that it's really easy to pick up, and you can do damage, and you can potentially win fights by just sort of messing around a little bit. But under the hood, it's so advanced and so... I've already leapt out of my chair so many times playing it. It descends when you've got a well-matched player into a furious battle of wits, like any great fighting game, like Street Fighter, like any great fighting game, and it's just so tremendously exciting. Basically, before Killer Instinct invented combo breakers, and you just press a very simple button. I think it was up on the SNES or select or something, where you'd break the combo. Now combos are split into 3, and it's light, medium, and heavy. So you have to do the correct combo. You have to see what move's being done, whether it's a light, heavy, or a medium attack, and press the corresponding combo breaker button. If you press the wrong one, or you press one too late, you're locked out for about 3 seconds, I think, from trying to break.
Quite a long time.
Yeah, exactly. But there are certain situations, if you've started noticing that they're doing shorter combos, that it's better to eat the combo rather than try and break it, because you can also preemptively, what do they call them? You can basically press the combo breaker, but while you're doing a combo, before you think they're going to press it. And all of this sounds really complicated. It is really not. There's a really great tutorial mode where all of this stuff's explained to you, and it's just But in addition to the normal combo stuff, you have to do a combo opener and a combo ender. So if you don't do the combo ender, you still do the combo, but they don't take away the full amount of energy. I mean, all of this stuff is just, it's pointless explaining it. I mean, it makes perfect sense. Shadow moves, and you can work them into combos. Shadow moves can also back you out of a combo, even an ultra, so that you can basically restart
I mean, this
the combo.
sounds nightmarish, but
it's really not. That's the beauty.
I know it doesn't, not to me, but I can imagine someone who doesn't really play fighting games. It sounds too complicated.
It's really not complicated. I mean, you can pull off sort of 10, 15 hit combos really easily. But the beauty of the fact that it's so easy is that when you really go deep, somebody who can do 10, 15 hit combos is not going to smash me up online.
Yeah,
it's great. It's great. It's as great a fighting game as I've played in the last 5 years. It's at the moment. The problem is that there's only 6 characters.
Yeah.
The online's piffling. But some of the matches I've had, I'm telling you, I mean, especially double helix.
I know. Good.
A hell of a jump on there.
Maybe this is what they always wanted to do.
Maybe. Well, I tell you what, they've done me proud.
Well, I watched that one you put on YouTube. You just put a random match on YouTube, and it was quite exciting.
That was a really close one. But
if something like that happens now on Xbox, you can just shout Xbox record, right? I mean, I know you put this on YouTube, so that was different. But if you're just doing it normally, and it will you can jump into it'll record it, and then you can jump into it later, can you?
Yes, and then you can edit it later.
That's great.
The annoying thing is that it kind of records, if it thinks that something's really, really impressive, it records it for you. So I was playing Battlefield and I leveled up and it just said clip recorded, and I went back and I watched it, and it's like me reloading in a corner.
Sweet.
Because I leveled up at that particular moment. Or FIFA, every time your keeper smashes a ball away, which happens quite a lot, if you're playing against somebody who's decent, that it records that. So you
turn that off?
I haven't checked, Actually, it's starting to get annoying because it clogs up your activity feed. Yeah. So actually, that is quite annoying.
I can't see that being good for your hard drive or anything. Just constantly putting tiny little chunks on there. That's going to slow everything down to fuck.
Yeah, and they make it impossible to know where to delete. I mean, Upload Studio is different because you can actually delete clips in there, but game saves, stuff you've installed on your hard drive. I
heard it deletes a lot of that stuff like automatically, depending on how much you're playing it and things. It sounds like a machine of maniacs. I thought the PS3 was a machine of maniacs, but this sounds like it might be taking it to another level.
It sounds like it might be the new PS3. Yeah, I am starting to worry. But
no one wants the new PS3.
No, they really
no one wants that. Even to just send chills down my spine, even thinking about stress.
Yeah. I mean, but similarly maddening. I mean, like how. I mean, from day one, I was always like, I can't believe Sony have brought out a machine that feels like it's 5 years out of date already. This is who knows? It's been a bad launch for them. Who knows?
Yeah. Let's see on Friday. I mean, plenty of people are already playing them in the States and whatnot, and I'm hearing good things, but about PlayStation this is. But yeah, we shall see on Friday. I might come back with similar stories.
Yeah,
who knows?
Possibly I will have some as well. We don't know. But Killer Instinct is £16. They're going to build upon it, and it's so damn good. It's just. It should have been so much more than it is. You can also incidentally buy a £31 version, which comes with a few completely pointless trinkets and an arcade port of the original Killer Instinct. My mate bought that version. I didn't. I was almost going to buy it because all I've ever wanted was to play the arcade port. He sent me a video of him playing it. It has not aged well in the slightest.
No,
it looks like
absolute
shit. So, but that's from £16 to £31 for a load of
it's double
for that old port which is not online, and a load of stuff to.
It's not online.
No, it's not. No.
Oh, I suppose that would be quite hard to do. Yeah.
Well, no, they said they're thinking about doing it, but.
Oh, what?
Yeah, exactly.
Just do it.
Exactly. Yeah. Watch this space. Maybe you'll have the
might
game
come
you
later.
paid for.
I'm done.
Exactly.
I'm doing something else later. I might be dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Who cares? Just do it now.
We'll take your money and maybe the full experience.
Yeah.
TBC.
Get fucked.
Yeah, God, it really is turning into something. Yeah.
That's more annoying to me than microtransactions. Coming later. What do you think I've got? I've only got one. I'm fucking old.
Yeah, I wanted to. Yeah, I know. If you make, if we get if we hear from the community that it's wanted, I mean, that's a different situation. So I'm comparing something completely different. I mean, they've charged £31 for Killer Instinct. That's almost double the price, and for a game that's offline, and I'm sure people will buy it expecting it to be online.
It's just been me listening to stuff and just almost with my jaw open, just like, why is this happening? Why? Why is any of this happening?
Yeah, it is a fucking maddening machine, but I'm hoping Microsoft will prove what they've proven recently, that they are listening, and they're going to make... I mean, Major Nelson has said all sorts of stuff.
Do you know what? Maybe all that stuff that they had in there, you know, when they first announced it and everybody kicked off... Maybe stripping that stuff out, because they said this is like the machine has been built around this, haven't they? All the game sharing, all this. Maybe stripping that out and trying to get the thing still out for November has just turned it into a clusterfuck.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
I just thought about it just then. I mean, what do I know? Like, I will capitalise that. What do I know? The answer is fuck all, as always. But that sounds like a good theory as any, because why would you release something that sounds like carnage? A giant box of carnage. All right, my number one is another giant box of carnage. Segue. It's GTA. I'm not going to bang on about it too much. Most people who are listening to this podcast have probably finished the story mode. I still haven't. I still want to try and get it done by Friday. We'll see if that happens. But you know, both of you and I got to that point where it was a bit of a lull in the story, to say the least. There was that terrible mission, and it really felt like things were like, oh, can I be bothered? Well, I got through that, and then within one mission, like the Paleto bank heist, and then a bunch of missions after that, fucking fantastic missions. Story's great, the action's unreal, everything about it. All I'm doing now is just mission after mission after mission. I'm not doing anything else, and it's just like the pace is just ratcheted right up, and it feels like you're in the middle of this insane action movie, like not action movie, you know, like sort of whatever, you know what it is. I don't need to explain it. I don't need adjectives. And the bottom line is the missions are great. That heist mission was great. There's a mission after that where you know, sniping guys off a thing, and then you have to jump a bike onto the back of a train and literally ride down the train. I know some people have said that's really hard. I managed to do it quite quickly, so it wasn't too much of a problem. Just mission after mission of just genius missions. So I'm excited about just hammering through to the end now. I think I've got about 18 missions to go, but some of those are like just drive from here to here. Brilliant game. Had problems with it, saved bugs. Talked about it. One thing I must say, I've got the new TV, the 1080p TV, and I've upscaled had the Xbox just running at 1080p upscaled, and GTA looks a fuckload nicer than it did on my old TV, like a lot nicer, which was a nice surprise. But bottom line is, obviously, everyone knows it's very, very good, and I'm more speaking directly to you now. I'd make sure you get back into the missions, because it would be a damn shame if you didn't.
I will, but I'm torn between rushing it, which I don't really want to do, and just saving it for maybe just after Christmas, where it would be like a fucking treat to go back to.
And it is Lull City just after Christmas as well, because nothing's coming out on these new consoles until, I don't know, Thief and then Titanfall. I mean, it's pretty quiet, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Well, yeah, I mean, I'll probably save it till after Christmas, because
it's probably a good idea.
I haven't been able to put down FIFA and Killer Instinct, so but yeah, there you go. Okay, all right. Well, that's us done. I was certain this was going to be a short episode, and it fucking isn't. Once again,
it's because you talked for 17 hours about Deadfall Adventures.
I know. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, thank you very much for listening. I was going to say my YouTube spiel there about like and subscribe, but that's wrong. Thanks very much for listening. Something else, YouTube, Facebook. Check out our YouTube channel. Don't bother with the Facebook. Twitter. We're on Twitter. Tweet us recommendations for games.
Xbox, Chet Roivas.
Yeah. Xbox, John Denton.
Bye.
See ya.
See ya.
Bravo, Mr. Quarterman. This is the second time you've helped us today. Now, if you would please step away from the tomb and allow me to take care of the heart.
Careful! According to my research, the tomb can trigger this entire room to collapse.
Empty? Why is it empty? What did you do with it?
No magic heart inside. Not even a magic appendix.
Fool! The heart of Atlantis is power beyond belief, forged by the greatest civilization ever to walk the earth. It must be here. It has to be. I don't understand.